Welcome into another edition of Dolphins All Access. Mike Cunio alongside Steve Goldie Goldstein here at the Dolphins practice facility in Miami Gardens. Some good news this week. Jalen Ramsey back on the practice field. Mike McDaniel said they could actually see him back playing in games before the bye week, which would be tremendous for this defense, especially with Xavier Howard now dealing with some injuries. How big of the news was it that Ramsey could be back for this team earlier?
Well, I think you undersold it by saying good.
Yeah,
it's amazing news. So, can he come back for that Kansas City game over in Germany? You would think, unless he's, 100%, that you probably miss that game and then get another week off because they have the bye after that. But either way, whenever he's back, you want these guys healthy for the stretch run. This team is 5-1 going into this game. I think they're going to be a playoff team, Mike. They have a lot of games left or a handful of games left on the schedule that they're just better than teams that they should win. So it's all about peaking at the right time. And maybe for the Dolphins, more importantly, with Armstead and Ramsey and some others being healthy at the right time.
Yeah, we're talking about right after, basically, or right around Thanksgiving, you could be talking about the healthiest this Dolphins team has been if they avoid any more injuries down the stretch going. Of course, Connor Williams wasn't practicing on Wednesday this week. We'll see what ends up happening with him. Liam Eichenberg has been there at center for him. All right, so they've got a big game, obviously, prime time against the Eagles. Do you look at this one like, man, if the Dolphins want to prove that they're one of these top teams in the NFL, you got to go into Philly and you got to get a win?
Yeah, look, if they go into Philly and they lose 24-23 in the last second field, I'm still going to say they're one of the top teams in the league. Top 5, top 7, wherever you want to put it. They've got to play well in this game. But, this team has graduated. We've talked about this during training camp. After the season they had last year, and remember, they've had 3 straight winning seasons. Only a handful of teams in the league have done that. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Kansas City, and Miami. That's it. They've graduated to a team that, forget about the moral victories, to your point. Get the W. They didn't do it in Buffalo. They've got a great chance this Sunday night. It's one of the biggest Sunday night games in years. Going into Week 6, the last time teams were 5-1 on Sunday Night Football, you got to go back to 2015. So you got all the weapons. You got the 2 quarterbacks. You got the Vic Fangio story working for the Eagles, trying to devise this Dolphins defense to shut down the Eagles offense. I'm really looking forward to it, but you're right. By Sunday night at 11:30, the W. That's what needs to be there.
I'm glad you mentioned Vic Fangio because I wanted to ask you about that Dolphins defense. A couple weeks ago before the Giants game, he said, look, the front seven hasn't been playing up to maybe expectations. They go out, have 7 sacks against the Giants. Last week, he's asked about Christian Wilkins, saying he's got off to a slow start. He has 2 sacks for the first time in his career. Are we noticing something here with Vic where he likes to maybe motivate guys in different ways? Because it seems like every time not call someone out, but challenges someone, even publicly, they come out and they perform the following week.
Yeah, maybe we need a few more of those.
Yeah.
If that's coincidence or if it's a big enough sample size, but you're 100% right.
2. Yeah.
Now, look, the Giants in Carolina have won 1 game combined. Their offenses have struggled. But the Dolphins did what you're supposed to do to those 2 teams. The Giants were literally a call or a play away from upsetting the Bills in Buffalo. So you never give back a win. That said, this is kind of a different animal this week. But, Vic Fangio's old school. He's going to say what he thinks. Doesn't soft soap it publicly. And I'm assuming he says this to these guys privately. And he's got the credibility, Mike, where if he goes up to a player of Christian Wilkins who's, got that fun attitude, energy, and probably very honest with himself. And if Vic says, hey, you're not playing as well as you can, Christian Wilkins probably believes him and takes that to heart. And he was terrific in the game on Sunday.
All right, before we wrap things up, over-under on how many tush pushes we see this week with the Eagles.
How many are going to work?
How many are going to work? How many are they going to run?
I'll go with how's 2.5?
2.5. I like that.
Set that the over-under.
I like that. All right. Thanks for joining us here on another edition of Dolphins All Access. For Steve Goldstein, I'm Mike Cunio. We will see you next week.